At the moment in 2024, few sim racing brands are as innovating and are as motivated as MOZA Racing. While brands like Thrustmaster were very late to the direct drive party and Fanatec showcased wheels with circular screens without any real release date, MOZA Racing has been dropping product after product. We're hot off the full release of the Xbox R3 bundle and a tasty looking set of flight controls, but MOZA isn't done for 2024. Their latest product is an incredibly futuristic looking GT steering wheel called the Vision GS. Now I'm lucky enough to have been sent this VGS wheel by MOZA for this review, and I'm going to put it through its paces to see how well it performs and whether it's worth its rather large price tag. So let's kick things off with an overview of exactly what the Vision GS wheel brings to the table. This is a rather large sim racing steering wheel measuring at 310mm across, and it's designed to be a GT wheel. If the design looks familiar, that's because it's reminiscent of the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo, a concept car created by Porsche for Gran Turismo 7. Funnily enough, Fanatec filed a patent for the Porsche Vision GT steering wheel in 2023, meaning MOZA has pulled a blinder by getting their rather similar wheel to market first. This wheel features all of the usual MOZA Racing goodies, a high quality build using carbon fibre and aerospace grade aluminium, plenty of customizable inputs including RGB LED buttons, joysticks and rotary encoders, and MOZA's excellent quick release. This wheel elevates the quality by adding additional extras such as dual clutch paddles, hidden buttons on the rear, and an incredible 2.85-inch touchscreen. This touchscreen is the real party piece of this sim racing steering wheel. It has a 60Hz refresh rate, it allows completely customizable dashboard layouts, and it is equipped with a gyroscope, allowing it to remain horizontal even when the wheel is rotated. All of these high quality additions to this wheel do stack up when it comes to the price. This certainly isn't the cheapest sim racing steering wheel, however considering all of the features, it's not quite as pricey as you may think. The MOZA Vision GS wheel comes in at $750, €830 or £750. Considering some premium wheels from other brands stretch up to, and in some cases well over $1,000 or pounds, this price didn't scare me as much as I thought it would. This is MOZA's most premium steering wheel to date, beating out the already impressive FSR wheel by around $100 or so. Now I do want to go back to the design of this steering wheel and really break everything down. Starting with the build quality, this sim racing steering wheel is constructed using aerospace grade aluminium for the chassis and a carbon fibre composite for the faceplate. This combination ensures the wheel is completely rigid with zero flex, and the composite carbon fibre gives the front of the wheel an almost soft touch effect similar to the KS steering wheel or the Acertec Forte wheel. The aluminium alloy must run through the hand grips because there is really zero flexing even with the long expanse that runs across the top of this wheel. While the buttons themselves are constructed from MOZA's normal plastic, the thumb and rotary encoders are both metal, and every input has an incredibly satisfying click and notchiness. The buttons have got a really short throw, and there's minimal wobble or movement which sometimes plagues sim racing wheels. A hand grip finished in premium microfiber leather wraps from the bottom left to the bottom right. This grip is hand stitched and feels rather soft and premium to hold. There isn't too much aggressive ergonomics on show. Instead, the hand grip looks smooth and classy and feels very comfortable across longer race sessions. Flipping the wheel over, we find a series of paddle shifters. These are built from carbon fibre and use magnetic hall sensors like most premium wheels. Directly below these are two dual clutch paddles that provide a progressive activation. Like all MOZA wheels, the shifters are quite clicky. You usually get a couple of silencing pads included, but I don't seem to have got these included with this wheel, so noisy is my only option here. The positioning of these shifters though is spot on, with the perfect distance from the back of the wheel to the front of the shifter. MOZA has learned from the KS wheel, which I thought had the shifters mounted way too close to the wheel, and this time around these shifters feel great. The quick release is the same design we've come to love from MOZA. It features a NRG style system that clicks on and off with ease, and the internal pins transfer both data and power to your wheel. Alternatively, if you do want to use this wheel with a different branded wheelbase, there is a port directly below the quick release. Now 2 additional push buttons are also hidden on the rear of this wheel. These aren't LED backlit, but being on the reverse of the wheel this would be completely pointless. These buttons are ideally placed for quick activations, and I'm using them to activate the DRS and the ERS in F124. Depending on your hand size though, these buttons can feel a little bit far away. You have to activate them with either your middle or your third finger, which can take some getting used to, but either way they're a brilliant addition to have. The functionality of the steering wheel includes a range of customizable inputs, including 8 RGB backlit push buttons. MOZA makes the claim that the short throw makes these buttons 60% faster to trigger than standard buttons, and I'm not sure quite how impressive that is, but I can tell you each button feels great. Out of the box, these buttons are naked, showcasing all of the LED lighting goodness. However, a pretty extensive sticker sheet is included, which lets you add custom stickers to each button. I like this approach as it really enables you to set up the overall look of your wheel to your own preference. There is nothing worse than unboxing a steering wheel to see the pre-installed pit limiter button is in the wrong place. Across the bottom of the steering wheel are 3 rotary encoders, and these feel really intentional and somewhat stiff, but in a good way. Each turn has a positive click to let you know just how many rotations you've made, and you can set these up as individual inputs or as a single input each way. Now these encoders are joined by 2 thumb encoders at the far edges of the faceplate. They're positioned perfectly for quick adjustments and finished in a rather nice blue aluminium. Again, these are on the stiffer side, allowing for intentional changes only, reducing the amount of mistakes you might make. My only slight issue with these thumb encoders is the lack of friction or grip. A few times I've gone to make a rapid adjustment just for my thumb to glide over the encoder without it rotating. A slightly more embossed or notchier design could have helped avoid this. There is also a 7-way funky switch and a joystick, which, like all other inputs, feels good to use. Across the top strip of the wheel is a series of RPM lights. These are the best MOZA has produced so far, and I'm so glad to see the back of that frosted plastic strip that MOZA used to include. Using the Pit House software, these rev lights can be customized in numerous ways. You can change the timing of each light individually, the colors, and the behavior, and set individual flag lights if required. And then there is that large circular display. This display is powered by an inbuilt 1.3 GHz quad-core processor and incorporates touch capability. With a quick swipe, you can switch between different dashboard designs or variations of the current layout. A range of preset designs are included that show everything from throttle and brake inputs, speed, lap time readouts, and live tyre and fuel indicators. When you first power the wheel on, the display looks incredibly cool. However, the magic comes when you first drive out of the pits and notice that when you rotate the steering wheel, the display stays static. That's due to an inbuilt gyro that allows the display to remain steady no matter the orientation of the steering wheel. The 60Hz refresh rate does its best to keep the screen steady, and in practice this does work well. However, there is an ever so slight delay in the screen and the gyro, meaning the display will wobble slightly, but it does a good enough job of keeping the dashboard legible while moving the steering wheel. Now, one element that I really need to discuss is the dashboard editor. This function is available in Pit House, and it's the first time that I've experienced this level of customization in a sim racing steering wheel. With previous wheels with screens like the MOZA FSR, you have to choose your design from the presets installed. With the Vision GS wheel, you can unleash your inner creativity and design your own layout. Opening up the dashboard editor, you'll be presented with a UI that doesn't look too dissimilar to editing software such as Photoshop or After Effects. You can choose from a range of shapes and text elements to add to your design and even upload custom imagery. With some of the preset elements, you can customize almost every single aspect of them, from the line thickness and the opacity, down to the behavior of how the element acts during specific scenarios. Then you can set a range of real telemetry to convert these elements into live readouts while racing. There is a huge number of options to choose from, including the usual gear, speed, lap count, lap times, etc. Then you have some more obscure options such as damage and wear levels, which allow you to be really in-depth with your creations. Due to the sheer number of options, it would have been nice to have some sort of search feature, rather than having to scroll down the extensive list to try and find something, and I'm really hoping this gets added in an update. Because this dashboard is circular, it does have some limitations regarding how you lay out your screen. Some circular elements do help overcome this shape issue though. If you like some of the preset designs, but fancy tweaking them, you can do this by loading up and editing these presets. You can also save, share, and upload templates, meaning that I can imagine there being a nice selection of community designs available shortly after launch. Now, one small issue I did encounter was when I was first updating and setting up the wheel. I'm not sure if this was an issue because I was running pre-release firmware, or if it's an inherent issue with the wheel. However, when trying to update the firmware for the Vision GS wheel, I ran into all sorts of problems. In Pit House, the display screen is seen as a separate entity from the wheel itself. I received multiple failed upgrade messages when trying to use the one-click upgrade in Pit House. At first, the display panel wouldn't connect to Pit House, then once it did, it took forever to upgrade, and once it finally upgraded, it wouldn't allow me to activate and just threw an error. To put this into context, the R12 wheelbase and the Vision GS wheel both took around 30 seconds each to upgrade the firmware and complete installation. When I finally got the display panel to upgrade, it took about 30 minutes for the upgrade to complete. As I said, this could be due to the pre-release firmware I was running, it could be due to all of the graphic assets that it needs to install, but eventually it did sort itself out, even though it was a bit of a headache. Now, I did touch on compatibility very briefly earlier, but I wanted to look at the extent of the compatibility with the Vision GS. With the included quick release, this steering wheel is compatible with all modern MOZA wheelbases. It simply clicks on and instantly works due to the pins inside the quick release. If you have an older MOZA wheelbase or you're using a wheelbase from a different brand, say Simucube or Fanatec for example, you can transfer the data using the included port on the rear of the wheel. There are a range of quick release adapters for pretty much every sim racing brand, and MOZA has their own universal hub, which lets you mount this wheel to other wheelbases with relative ease. It is worth noting that this steering wheel is PC only and not compatible with any console such as Xbox or PlayStation. The MOZA R3 remained the only MOZA product that offers console support currently. And that brings me to my final thoughts on this wheel. This is undoubtedly a striking looking steering wheel that will be loved by many. I rather like its futuristic design concept, and despite me primarily racing open-wheeled cars, the 310mm diameter doesn't feel too large. The wheel uses the highest quality materials, resulting in a premium feeling sim racing product that doesn't compromise on performance. All inputs are incredibly tactile, and I have no issues with the quality other than those typical MOZA noisy shifters. The screen is the real party piece of this wheel and offers a real USP that other brands don't currently have. The ability to customize this screen may be overwhelming at first, but this is a dream for those who love to tinker with their gear. Overall, this wheel expands on MOZA's ever-growing sim racing steering wheel range, offering sim racers a much more premium option. The price tag is pretty high, but probably not as high as it should be, allowing it to be within reach for serious sim racers looking to upgrade and improve their current setup. If you guys like this review, consider hitting that like button and consider subscribing as well and help us on our goal to reach 100,000 subscribers. I release new sim racing content every week, from reviews to F1 and ACC content, so hitting that alert bell will let you be notified every time a video drops. For now guys, I will see you on track.